Copying a purchase order in Fiscal. In order to best understand this video, please watch the Creating a Purchase Order video first. Otherwise, this video might not make much sense. You've seen how much work is involved in making a purchase order in Fiscal from scratch. Just like filling out a Standard 65 form from scratch is a lot of work. To avoid filling out a Standard 65 from scratch every time you needed one, you might have saved completed Standard 65s on your computer and used them as templates for future purchases. In Fiscal, you can do the same thing, and what's more, you have access to copying everyone's purchase order, not just everyone at your station or even everyone in your unit, but everyone in CAL FIRE. For example, my first ever Fiscal purchase order has this ID, a bunch of zeros, 60. You can go into Fiscal and search for that ID and pull up the purchase order and look at it. You can also copy it, make some changes to the copy, and use it for your own purchase order. But of course, the more different my purchase order is from what you're buying, the more you'll have to change. So at some point it becomes quicker and cleaner to just make your own purchase order from scratch, or copy from a purchase order that is closer to what you're buying. CZU is building a set of template purchase orders in Fiscal for you to copy from to make creating purchase orders easier. By going to our portal to Finance, and then to Common Supplier Purchase Orders, you can access a list of purchase orders available for copying. As of this video, there are only 2, and they aren't our dedicated templates. They're just purchase orders Finance has made. In this video, I'll be copying my first purchase order for paying another phone bill. That's this first one, from the same supplier, with the same coding except for the amount. Just as with creating any purchase order, I need to be ready with any needed documents scanned to PDF, and I need to know my items and prices and the coding I'll use. Providing you copy a purchase order that has been approved, you can be sure the supplier on that purchase order is already approved in Fiscal, but you will need to check that it is the correct supplier at the correct address for your purchase. For example, copying just any purchase order that uses Black Bear Diner as a supplier is no good if the purchase order you're copying uses the location in Modesto, but you're buying in Salinas, and those locations have different supplier IDs. Let's get started. Log into Fiscal and navigate to the Add Update POs page, which I have saved in my favorites. You navigate to this page just as you would if you were making your purchase order from scratch. You'll want to add a new value tab. Don't touch these values and click Add. Here you'll get your new purchase order, and it's all blank, but not for long. Go to this Copy From dropdown and pick Purchase Order. A pop-up will open. Here, you'll search for the purchase order you want to copy. If you know the exact ID, as I do, you enter it here. You can experiment with other ways of finding a good purchase order to copy. Just be sure you check every field for accuracy. Other units use different coding than CZU does. In my case, I know the purchase order ID, so I enter it right there and click Search. It pops up here. I check it and click OK. Fiscal thinks for a minute, and then that purchase order data has been loaded into my screen exactly as I made it, except that all of the dates have been changed everywhere to today's date. I'm also going to check through now to make sure that everything in here is as I want it. Looking at the header first, yep, that's the date. That's the supplier I used last time. It's the same one. Yep, that's me. And And it's not a contract. It's a non-IT service, personal services, fair and reasonable. There's our DGS billing code. So the header's fine. I check header details. Let's see, it still has a billing location as 162 at the end for Felton headquarters. Yes, everything in here is fine. I check the PO defaults link. Now my purchase this time is very similar to the one I did last time. So the category code's the same. It's for a phone bill, still a lot. Here under schedule, it looks like it's defaulted somehow back to CAL FIRE headquarters in Sacramento. I don't want that, I want Felton. I look down here at the chart fields and check them just to make sure they're all correct. I use my other references if I have to, my charts and Excel sheets that keep all of these codes straight for me. This looks like the same thing as I used last time. Reporting structure, very important, shows CZU 02350. All right, everything looks good to go. So I click OK. It thinks, and it gives me a pop-up. This gal wants to be sure that I'm happy with my data, so it's asking me to confirm. Look down this list, category ID. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I didn't enter that, but I'm gonna hope for the best and I can check it later. Everything else, yep, that's all what I entered. I can click on select all and it checks all the boxes for me. I click OK. Next, I need to check the View, Edit, Comments, and Attachments link. It will have everything I put on here last time on the previous purchase order. Here's my justification. It's the same type of purchase, still paying a phone bill. I don't need to change it. If I needed to, I could type in here and add it, change whatever I needed to change. There's two more links here. And they are both where I uploaded my statement and my detailed statement for the phone account. I have different statements this time, so I need to remove these two and replace them with the new one. If I click delete, it'll tell me, okay, yeah, sure, we'll delete it, but not yet. Okay, for good measure, I'm going to inactivate it. Make sure that's totally gone. I go to the third one, there's another attachment here I put on. Don't want that one either. I click delete. Yeah, we'll get rid of it for you, just not yet. Okay. And activate that. Now I will add my other two attachments. You've seen this before, so I'll skip ahead a little. So I've uploaded my two attachments onto new tabs. It shows 5 now. 1 is the justification. 2 and 3 were the ones from the previous purchase order that I deleted and inactivated. 4 and 5 are my new account statements that I just attached. I click OK. It thinks. Now that I've closed it, if I go back into it again, this is where I just was. Now it only shows that there are 3 things attached. It has my justification here, the new one, the new statement I attached, and the new detailed statement I attached. The other 2 from the last time I used this purchase order, the previous version, they're gone. So I'm all good. Moving down the page, car reportable has turned off, so tell it yes and no again. Down here, my item description hasn't changed. If yours has, you would change that there. The price has changed, however. This is a particularly expensive phone bill at $1.34. I now click on the schedule icon. Go to this page, it's got my price here for me. This green one, miscellaneous charges, I don't have any. Scheduled sales tax use, that acorn looking thing. This is a phone bill. There's no sales tax on it. It's a service. It is not an actual goods, so I can check item as exempt. If, however, you have goods that you are messing about with, then you'll need to make sure your tax destination is correct and your tax code is for the city. Review the other video about making a purchase order if you're unsure how to do those. I click OK. I go to this little form with the arrows sticking off of it. Here's where my coding is again. I just looked at this when it was in the defaults pop-up, but I can check it again just to make sure Fiscal's not doing any funny business. 3540 for CAL FIRE, Appropriate Reference Fund. Yep, those are what I want them to be. The account number, which is our new object code. Program number in there, which goes along with our PCA, which is now here under service location. Reporting structure says CZU headquarters. All right, everything's good. I click OK. From here, I return to main page using this link. Back here on the main purchase order page. And I'm done. I don't have any more items to enter. If you bought multiple items, just like making a regular purchase order, you'd use the plus to add additional lines for yourself. But I'm done, so I go and click Save. It's thinking. It's saved. Okay, gave me the icon that says saved. One more thing I have to do is go up here to this green checkbox to submit it for approval. You see here it's generated a new purchase ID number. This time it's 197. I can save that in case I need to look this up again easily. I click the green checkbox to submit it. It's thinking again. It says saved and PO status changed to pending approval. I'm done. Keep in mind that when you copy a purchase order, you can't take it on faith that the one you're copying from is exactly correct for your purchase. You must check all the fields, just as if you were filling them in fresh. If I were to use my Westside Ace Hardware example, where I bought spackle and rope, but this time I'm buying door hinges and screws, I would need to change the account codes and UNSPSC category codes. If I were buying for the camp this time instead of just for regular CZU, I'd have to change my DGS billing code, reporting structure code, and my billing and ship to locations. If I were using a different PCA, I'd be changing the service location and possibly the program code and appropriation reference and fund code and so on. You still need to know what you're doing, but by copying POs, you can save a lot of data entry.